What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft. Just got in from spending some time outside, putting some gear away, and I thought perfect opportunity for a video of how to treat your gear and take care of it before you store it away for short or long term. Now we're specifically going to focus today on our axe, because most of the time, most of us bushcrafters are taking an axe along with us. And if we use that axe while we're out in the field, or even if we're just carrying it around and it's getting dropped maybe in the snow, or if it's raining out, we need to take care of these things, because yes, they do cost us a good amount of money if we get a high quality one, and we don't want them to get ruined over time. So we're going to go over some tips to keep this thing up and running. All right, so you come in, it is a wet, snowy day, or just a wet day, whatever it may be. First thing you're going to do with this thing is you are going to get that sheath off of the axe itself, okay? We need to give this leather some time to dry out. Now, we're not going to do anything with it right away. I know what you might be thinking. You're going to put treatment and everything on. We will get to that. Right now, we just want this stuff to dry out. So get that leather sheath off. If it's real damp on the inside, maybe try to open it up with something and just lay it around. You don't want to put it on a heater though. We don't want to dry it out unnaturally. Just let it air dry. It will be good. And then what you're going to do with the axe itself is you're going to just take a dry rag and you are going to wipe off any excessive moisture that is on there. You don't have to go crazy with this. Just wipe it off and make sure it's nice and dry. If it's damp, because it has been out, I mean, if you're working with these tools, they are going to be in the elements. So if the eye up here, if the wood in the eye is all wet and the handle seems a little bit damp, that's okay too. Again, we're not going to put this on a heater or on top of a stove or anything. Just set this down and allow it ample time to dry. So now everything has had time to dry. What is going to be the next step? So generally what I do before I put my tools away is I just give them a quick overview. Make sure I have no cracks, no chips, nothing major that's going to get me injured next time I use it. I usually check the edge to make sure I have no chips on the edge also. And if you're going to sharpen it or touch it up with a stone or a file, now is the time to do that. So take some time, sit around, touch this up, and then you can move on to the next step. So freshly sharpened, all dried up. Okay, next thing is we want to get some treatments on here. But what we want to first do is remove any kind of debris or mud that might have been on here. Now, generally when you wipe it off, okay, that's going to take any of that mud off if there is any or anything like that. But sometimes that mud still gets caked on there a little bit. You might have some down around here that you just missed. Totally okay. It's not going to kill the tool, because what we're going to do now is we're going to first give it a good scrubbing down. So this is a quick process. You can use steel wool for this. I use just these cheap Brillo looking scrubber sponge pad. They're not the sponge ones, but just the scrubber pads. And all that I do is I just give it a rub down like this over the handle, and then the head of this, without cutting myself, I just make sure I get any of that debris out. Now, if there's no debris at all on it, you don't have to do this step, but if there's some stuff on there, go ahead and do this. This will also, if there's any kind of like little surface rust that developed while it was drying, this is going to knock it off real nice and easy for you. Now, the high important areas that we really want to focus on here is going to be the back side of the handle and right here, because that's the end grain of the wood. It's going to soak a lot of the oil that we place on the wooden handle back into it, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to use some of our tool oil. You can use linseed oil, you can use some type of nut oil, anything like that that you want to use. Go ahead and feel free to use that. So you're just going to put a little bit on, a couple little drips, and rub it in, okay? What we're also going to do with that oil, or you could pick a different kind of oil if you want, is you want to get a light coat of oil all over that metal, okay? We want to prevent this high carbon steel from rusting from us, so next time we pull it out, we don't want to be staring at a rusty axe. Now, it is going to build up a patina over time, which is absolutely fine. We actually want that. That's going to help the metal protect itself over time. But for now, all right, even if you have a patina, you still want to do this once in a while, right? We're going to get some of that oil on the handle, just like this. Now, if you put too much on, I can tell you, I got a little overly excited at the beginning there. Again, just take a rag, don't wipe it all off, but just dab it a little bit, making sure there's still a nice light coat on there of that, okay? and we will be good to go. So what I'll generally do now is I will just let this sit off to the side. Some of that oil is going to absorb into the metal and into the wood, and then we're going to be close to finished up for storage with our axe. Now onto our leather. We always want to treat our leather products that have been exposed to the elements. So lots of good leather treatments out there. We make this gear loop stuff. They come in little containers you can just rub on. There is also stuff called Snow Seal and a ton of different stuff. So whatever you could do, just make sure that you're taking care of your leather products. You really want to make sure areas that seem dry, that you're getting some of this treatment on there. Just rub it on, and then the key to any leather treatment is when you put it on, you've got to build up some heat. What that's going to do, that heat, as it warms up your leather, is going to open up the pores in that leather, and it's going to allow that leather to absorb that treatment. Okay, so if it's very, very new, maybe even use a hair dryer to really heat that up. Most of the time though, if you just do this and get that friction in between your hands, it's going to let that soak in, and it's already looking like a brand new sheath. Just make sure you're doing your straps and everything else. And then once all of that is done, your axe is good to go. You're ready to put that thing away, and it is ready for use the next time you are going to need it. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com for all our classes, our gear, and our merchandise. And until the next video, stay in the woods.